Good morning. Our last portion of the second topic, the search for work. The search for work. The condition of the tribals who had gone far away from their homes in search of work, even worse. Those who went far away from their homes in search of work, their condition, their plight, it was very worse. From the late 19th century, tea plantation, it was started. Mining also become an important industry. Tea plantation started, mining also an important industry. So tribals were recruited in large number to work the tea plantation of Assam and coal mines of Jharkhand. So plantation setup, mining also become important industries, so they need more workers. So they recruited tribals to work in the plantation and mining. Plantation in tea plantation in Assam and mining in Jharkhand, coal mines of Jharkhand. Then they were recruited through contractors who paid them miserably very low wage, and they prevented from returning home. Then the contractors, they were selected tribals to work in the plantation and mining industries. Then these contractors, they were given very low wage to the tribals. Then they were not allowed, without permission they could not leave from these industries or plantation. These are the last topic. Then next our topic, a closer look. Throughout the 19th and 20th century, tribal in different part of the country rebel against the changes in laws, the restriction on their practice, the new tax they had to pay, and the exploitation by traders and moneylenders. So throughout the 19th and 20th century, tribal group, they began to rebel against the forest laws. Changes, they introduced many changes. We discussed that forest law. What happened to tribal chiefs? Everything we discussed that. So they started rebellion against the changes in law, restriction in their practice, jhum cultivation. They can't practice jhum cultivation. British government restricted them and they told them to practice settled cultivation. So many restriction on their practices. Then the new tax they had to pay, and the exploitation by traders and moneylenders. At last they understood that traders and moneylenders are the main reason for the problems faced by the tribals. So tribals, they began to oppose throughout the 19th and 20th century because of the changes in law, then the restriction on their practice, then the new tax they had to pay, and exploitation by traders and money lenders. The Coals rebelled in 1831 and 1832. Coals rebellion in 1831 and 1832. Sandals topic last we discussed that. They were the rearers of cocoons, silk growers. So Sandals, they started revolt in 1855. We know that the agents, they were giving very less amount and they were paying this 5 times more than this amount. So Sandals, they revolted in 1855. Coals rebellion 1831-32. Sandals 1855. Then the Basta rebellion in the central India, it was started in 1910, and the Warli revolt in Maharashtra in 1914, and the movement that the Birsa led was one such movement. So Coals rebellion, then Sandals revolt, Basta rebellion, then Warli revolt. These are the main rebellion started by the tribals because of the changes. Who introduced changes? The British government, they introduced many changes. Then at last Birsa also started a movement. That movement we are going to discuss next. So the Birsa Munda. Already first we discussed about Birsa Munda. Then Birsa, he was born in mid 1870s. He was born in mid 1870s. He was the son of a poor father. Then when he grew up, he grew around the forest of Bahonda and he was grazing sheep. He was playing flute and he was dancing in the local akhada. Like our Sri Krishna, he was grazing and he was playing flute and he was dancing in the local akhada. Then, forced by poverty, his father is moving from place to place. They were not settled in one area. Because of poverty, his father is moving from place to place in search of work. Then, as an adolescent, Birsa heard the tales of Mundas. They were uprising the past, and he saw the Sirdars. Sirdars means they are leaders of the community urging the people for revolt. So, as an adolescent, he heard the tales of his ancestors, how the leaders, how the Sirdars, they inspire the people to fight against the cause. Then they talked a golden age when the Mundas had been free from the oppression of Decos. Then he heard the tales how his ancestors, they were urging the people to fight against the outsiders, and at the same time he heard that his ancestors, they lived in a golden age before the arrival of Decos. There is no oppression. They were free in this forest. Then he also want to restore his ancestors' condition. His ancestors, how they lived, same life they want to live here. That's why he also decided to inspire his people. Then they saw themselves as the descendants of the original settlers of the region. They were fighting for their land, then reminding the people to the need to win back their kingdom. Then he understood that his ancestors, they were the original settlers of this area. So these people also want to live in the same land. So they want to fight to win back their kingdom. Now it is under the control of Britishers. They want to bring back their kingdom. Then Birsa, he went out the local missionary schools. Missionary schools means the Christian missionaries, they were introducing, implemented some schools. So he entered the local missionaries school and he heard the speeches, sermons of the missionaries. He heard the speeches of the missionaries. There too, he attained the kingdom of, there too he heard that it was possible for the Mundas to attain the kingdom of heaven. From here also he heard that Mundas, they could attain their kingdom. But one condition is that it would be possible only they become good Christians and give up their bad practices. Then missionaries urged them to become Christians. Missionaries told them they want to become good Christians and they want to stop all their bad practices. Then only they could attain their kingdom of heaven. So he was not satisfied with this. He left the missionary schools and he went his time with the Vaishnava preachers also. But here also he was not satisfied with the ideas. So he left from there also. Then Birsa, he was deeply influenced many ideas in his growing years. His movement, it was aimed to reform the tribal society. He decided to reform the tribal society. He urged his followers, Mundas people, to give up drinking liquor. He told his people to stop drinking alcohol. He urged his people to give up drinking or liquor, and he told his followers to clean their village. Give up liquor, clean their village. Stop believing in witchcraft and sorcery, and supernatural power and others, mantrangal and tantrangal. He told his people to stop the beliefs of supernatural power. But you must remember that Birsa also turned against missionaries and Hindu landlords. He heard something from missionaries and Hindu landlords. Then Hindu Vaishnava preachers, then he told his people to this, and